Hey y'all, welcome to my channel where we learn the tips and tricks to gardening and so much more. So I do want to apologize, I've been gone for a few weeks, went on vacation and just been super busy. But I got some exciting things to show you, so come with me. Alright y'all, so last time I did a few experiments and it's been about a month. So I want to show you how those experiments went and what the outcome. Some of them are still ongoing, but let's see how they're doing. Alright y'all, this experiment was at what time throughout the day to water your plants. You always hear early morning is the best time, but I wanted to do an experiment to see if that was actually true. So this one I've been watering at 8 in the morning, this one at 2 p.m., and this one at 7. And as you can see, the 8 a.m. is doing really good. It's growing. It's the biggest out of all of them. This one didn't germinate at all, which was the 2 p.m. And this one's just small. It's growing, but it's small. So ultimately, I do believe that early morning is the best time to water your plants. Now, on a side note, if it did rain, I did not water during that time period. And if it wasn't raining, I came out at the time and watered. And if it was raining, I just left it as is. I didn't continue to water or go out after and water. To me, you can't do that. You don't sit there and watch it rain on your garden and then go out and water it again. So I just left it as is, and that is ultimately, after about a month, what ended up. Now my second experiment was the little patch of grass. It was about a 3 by 3 foot circumference of area that the grass near my fire pit just was not growing. We did have a little bit of a drought, so what I did was once a week I would just put some sugar down and then I would water it in and see how it did. And it's been about a month. Now we are no longer in a drought. It has rained quite a bit the last couple of weeks, and I do believe that's helped as well, but let me show you how much has grown. So believe it or not, this is the area. You can still see a few little bare patches, but it was a 3 by 3 of nothing, and now it's growing. Now some of it is weeds, and I'm afraid to put any weed killer on it yet because I want to get the grass going really good before I do that. But there's also a lot of grass in it as well. So once again, the sugar seems to have helped the grass grow and no longer dead area. Still a few, so I'm going to continue putting some sugar once a week in those little areas to try to help. But ultimately, it did well. Now my third and final experiment was which works better for tomatoes. The Tums that I crushed up and I watered once a week, or the dry milk that I also mixed in with water, or nothing at all. So I'd like to show you which ones that I did what to and how they look. Let's go. Alright, this row right here are the tomatoes that I did the Tums, and they are growing really great. This plant alone has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on it so far. Some up top, some down here, and that's pretty much the same throughout all of them. A couple of them, like this one, only has about 5 on it, but the ones down there all seem to be doing really well. They're getting big. That one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 as well, and the others down as well. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plants in this row, and each one of them have between, this one's the smallest amount, which only has 4, The rest of them have about 10. And so far they're doing really well. Like I said, it's been just once a week that I just crush up some Tums, mix it in with water, and I just water at the base. And so far so good. All right, now this is the row of tomatoes that I did the dry milk. And just so you see, these posts are 4 feet and that one is 6 foot. And the plants are growing, I mean, some of them, this one's leaning because we had a storm. But these plants are like taller than me. I'm leaving it over there because it's got another support system over there, which is fine. So the plants themselves are growing super big, especially compared to the smaller ones with the Tums. They're only about 3. The one on the very end's the biggest, and it's about maybe 3.5, not quite 4 feet. But these all are just ginormous. As for the tomatoes, so far we have quite a few. This plant has 5 on it. There's another plant that has 2 little ones growing over here that just started. This plant doesn't have quite any yet. This plant doesn't either. That one doesn't, or this one. So ultimately, the Tums seems to have them fruiting a little bit quicker, as with the milk seems to have had them grow taller and not fruiting as quickly. However, I assume these are going to be finished a lot faster from the fruiting. As with these, are now they're focused more on growing tall and not fruiting, but now that they're starting to fruit, they should start fruiting a lot and could possibly produce way more fruit than the smaller plants. Now, obviously, these are different types of tomato plants. I'm not quite sure if that makes a difference. These are the big boys. So that could make a difference because these generally aren't bigger plants to begin with. However, I do tomatoes every year, and this is the tallest tomato plants I've ever had. And I did not, this is the first year I've done the Tums and the dry milk. My mother, on the other hand, did not do anything, and hers are not as big. So I truly feel like that has a lot to do with the success of the growth of it. And so I'm really looking forward to more tomatoes fruiting any day now. Like I said, we've had a lot of rain, so they should be about to just explode. Flowers are everywhere. Got a ton of flowers on each of them, and they should just be fruiting soon. Like, I mean, just explode any day now. So I'm really looking forward to that. We should be canning some tomatoes really soon. All right, y'all, these are the 2 tomato plants that I actually have not done anything but water. I did not put any Tums or the dry milk, and as you can see, they are getting a lot bigger. You zoom that out. A lot bigger, and we do have a couple of little flowers starting to form, but they're not near as big or productive as the other ones. So ultimately, I do believe the other products work a lot better when it comes to tomatoes. I had to get in some shade. It is just super hot and humid, and I'm just melting. But I did want to explain my hypothesis on each one. I did expect them to work very well. I just didn't know how exactly the differences would be. I very much trust other gardeners, and I like to listen to everybody's input and opinions, and I just like to experiment and see what works best for mine. So this is what worked best for mine. The early morning worked best. The dry milk worked best. The Tums still did a great job. So to me, I'm going to do both. And as for the sugar, that was the first time I tried it. It seems to work. So from now on, when I have a bare area, I'm going to put a little bit of sugar down once a week. and continue unless anything changes. But my hypothesis, once again, was that they would work. It was just more of the differences in how they would work. And ultimately, I'm very pleased with the outcomes of each experiment. I'm very pleased with it. I'm excited about the tomatoes, and my grass looks great. And I definitely know I'm watering in the morning, every morning. Maybe not at 8 a.m., it just depends. Here soon, school's gonna be starting, so we'll be getting up earlier, so it might be more like 6. I don't think that really matters. The whole point is that you water in the morning before it gets too hot. You do not water in the middle of the day because it's way too hot. Like, your plants are just not gonna be able to soak it up. It's gonna, you know, evaporate really quickly. And then in the evening, yeah, it works, but not as good. So ultimately, that is what I came up with. So hopefully you guys can learn from that and try your own experiments and see what works for you. On that note, I hope you have a blessed day. God bless.